You Booked It, episode 155. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. Every episode is a masterclass on how to move your career forward. And if you want even more, head over to youbookeditpodcast.com and join the email community where we dig deep into what you can be doing right now to help book that next gig. And now, let's do this. Okay, let's get started. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Ksenia Parkhatskaya. Are you ready for this, Ksenia?
I'm totally ready for it.
Beautiful. Ksenia is a dancer, choreographer, singer, and actress. She came to fame through her signature 20s Charleston choreography on So You Think You Can Dance, and soon rose to be one of the most viewed dancers on the internet with over 200 million views. Trained in competitive ballroom dance and musical theater, her current specialization in solo dance styles to various genres of jazz music. She regularly performs with live ensembles and orchestras. To name a few, the Christian McBride Trio, Postmodern Jukebox, Barcelona Jazz Orchestra, Keystone Sextet, and many more. She has also performed original choreographies with the Paris Opera Orchestra at U Moderne and Kuchmo Chamber Music. Ksenia is also the owner and founder of the largest online school dedicated to solo jazz dance styles, Secrets of Solo, with over 3,000 students taking her progressive dance courses. Although globally known as one of the world's best solo jazz dancers, she is lesser known for her songwriting and vocals, yet her voice, heart, and soul fly just as freely as her movement. In 2018, she began the process of creating her debut album, Colors, co-written with her husband, Irish composer and bassist David Duffy. Ksenia, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Fill in the gaps and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry.
Hi, Dane. Well, there was a lot of things covered in this bio. This is exactly what I do. I'm doing, in fact, loads of things, but for me, they're one ocean, one universe. So I dance and I choreograph and I sing and I write songs and I make movies and dance video clips. And as well, I play in the films myself as an actress. And so all of it intertwines and supports and helps and flourishes another thing. And currently, this year specifically, because 2020 happened to be just like 1920s, shocking. I mean, I'm serious. Just about in December, I was all over bouncing off the walls saying to people, we're back into 20s, Charleston 20s. Let's all, go back to that jazz era. And here we are, not jazzing at all. It's complete blues all over. But anyways, of course, internet is our savior. So there's a lot of things happening through the waves of internet, electronic waves, other dimensions, a lot of teaching, releasing music and video clips through social media and through different platforms in the internet. Thanks to the internet for being there to keep the work going, because obviously all of the performances and teaching classes, even taking classes, is just all taken away from many of us. And here in Catalonia, we're back to lockdown. So back to the screens and back to our imagination.
Crazy. Yeah, it has been one heck of a year for everybody, hey, and this industry in particular.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's dig into this first section here. And Ksenia, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
I'm super big fan of jazz, as everybody already probably understood of my video. And so there is this fantastic jazz musician. His name is Clark Terry, and trumpetist and this scat singer as well. And he has been saying this phrase. This is even the name of the movie about him. And this is what it is. Keep on keeping on. And I absolutely love this quote because it's light, it's easy, and it gives you some sort of energy and flow for just continue being, continue breathing, continue walking, continue dancing, continue seeing, continue creating, just keep on keeping on. This quote is so bright and light and full of hope, and it's as well at the same time, it's not heavy. It's very easy and light to take and to even apply to your day-to-day things. Another one, I'll give you three, I think, because
Yeah, great. Love
I
it.
have my three classics. Another one is actually a Russian proverb, and it goes like this. Аппетит приходит во время еды. Or in English, appetite comes when eating. And I love this phrase as well because it's a very motivational quote for me. So we get inspiration and energy for doing something in the process of doing that. So it's at times to start doing something is just the hardest thing on planet Earth. And you need some outer forces to help you start the thing, be it training, running, I don't know, doing something, whatever it is, even cooking at times. And you just make this first step and you say to yourself, appetite comes when eating. And it's always is like that.
Yeah.
And the third one, yeah. And the third one would be actually the quote that comes from a book, The Artist's Way, written by Julia Cameron. Do you know that book?
I do indeed.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm sure it helped a lot of and inspired a lot of people in the arts in this world. Well, anyways, the phrase is take care of the quantity and the universe will take care of the quality. And again, it's a very inspiring quote that just drops the weight of the days from my shoulders and makes me feel at ease. It's very similar to keep on keeping on, because what it says is just continue creating, keep the flow going, and the universe, whatever it be energetically or whatever it is, the universe will take care of the quality. And now it's not that I don't believe that everything you do should not be of quality, because I do believe that everything should be done to your absolute best, the best ability you can today. But equally, searching for quality continuously and focusing only on the quality can be really restricting, because you can just be locked into this perfectionist mode. And in the end, it can stop you from doing absolutely anything. Quality comes and quality reveals itself in the process of flow of creating and doing.
For sure. You're right. Sometimes we easily get caught up in trying to make things perfect, or that getting ready to get ready. And you just got to do it, right? And I really enjoy, thank you for all those three quotes, by the way. They all really play into each other and build off of one another. I think it's such a great trio of quotes to stick on your fridge or live your life by. So good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. And let's get into this next section here. And Ksenia, of course, you're an entertainer. I'm an entertainer. And I think that you'd agree that this industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry like you're having now takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, yeah, there's an outrageous amount of fun and excitement doing what we do, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
It's a very interesting question, Dane. Yeah, I totally agree with you, even though we love what we do so much and we flow with it. And at times it's just almost like a paradise. Only we know the underground rivers of it, that at times really it is very hard. But somehow I really have a very positive outlook on things. And I had to actually sit and think on this question because yeah, I didn't find an obstacle or a challenge like, oh yeah, that is something I definitely can talk about. I had to really dig into my history, because in the end, I look very positively on things and where I'm today. Even if I look back, everything that happened, even something maybe at time was a really obstacle and challenge and maybe something very negative, I still feel like I recycled it to something good. For myself for today. But anyways, I thought about it and this is what I came up with. And it's related to becoming a public figure and becoming popular and having more and more followers, people who actually look at what you do and then speak out about it, which is so easy in the internet. Obviously, the feedback right now is just, a very important thing. So I realized that people can have very different opinions, at times very unexpected opinions, and that opinions can be very dramatically polarized and people will express them. And all of a sudden you can be seriously judged by people. So when you are doing whatever you're doing at quite a small scale, maybe not so many people bother, only the people who like what you do. So they express that they like it, but others just don't pay attention. But the moment you grow bigger and you're more on the public eye, that hits you hard. And more popular you become, more eyes on you, more judgment. People start to create a certain image of you independently of actually who you are.
Yeah.
Because they are on this other side of the internet, on the other side of this like this energetic shield. And I realized that was the time for me to make a decision of how I'm going to be reacting to this, of how I'm going to be behaving, and how I'm going to be with me with this. Because as I'm telling to you, I have a positive look on life, and usually I never really struggled, or I don't feel like I struggled through things. So when it for the first time hit me quite, this public opinion thing and the comments and the people's judgments, wow, it wasn't expected. I was almost questioning, why don't they like me?
Yeah.
How is that possible? What did I do? How did I upset them? And one point is that you have to be, for me, that I realized that you have to be really true to yourself and true to your essence and your intention. And this takes a moment of looking inside and digging, I suppose. But to having this sort of trunk of a baobab tree instead of your spine inside that will always root you, or you can always come back to it and stay sane, because the winds will blow at times really hard, and at times it can be stormy. But if you're true to yourself and you have this vital trunk inside of you, and where you stand, you will be mentally and physically safe and in this situation. And another point that I was thinking is that it's probably very healthy to separate yourself, you as you, a human being, maybe without a name and a surname and nationality and sex. And then there is a project of you. So Ksenia Parkhatskaya is a project. And there is me as a just pure human without any occupation, profession, or other labels, cultural labels. And then there is a project of me. And so you sort of trick yourself in that way, or more organize the way of thinking. And there could be difficult times and situations with my project, Ksenia Parkhatskaya, project of a dancer, of a musician, and we can solve it. But me as a human being will not get destroyed because of people's opinion of their created image of me, or in fact, as we know, of themselves, basically. So people can be very cruel and needy today, especially in the anarchic environment of the internet. It's really easy to be seducted and join this massive oblivion of opinions and things, unimportant opinions as well, but very angry opinions. And so to stay safe, it's this rooting.
Yes. I love your imagery of the tree trunk and rooting yourself so you can weather all the storms of what this career and what life throws at you, but also really love how you talked about yourself and then the project of what you are, and then the externalized thing that everyone sees, right? And that is so cool. I really like that. I'm in the middle of rereading, or re-listening to, I should say, The Power of Now. And have you read that book?
Yeah, Eckhart Tolle. It's
Yeah.
absolutely an amazing book, really opened my mind for a lot of things.
For sure. And I'm finding what you said in that imagery of separating yourself and the project, it has that same idea with the being, and I know it's in my mind, they're interacting together.
Yeah, very much, very much. Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, was really a revelation, and as easy as it reads, as difficult as it is to apply in real life, this whole idea of the consuming you animal of ego, that is the core problem of in many situations, and how it is important to dissociate yourself with your thinking, with your mind, and with this absolutely consuming monster of a needy ego.
Yeah, for sure. Really great imagery. And I think that's incredible insight. I think everyone could really benefit from rewinding quick and re-listening to that section that Ksenia just said. And thank you for that, because it's when guests like you come onto the show and share something like that, I realize, wow, this is what is making this podcast so important for people that are in our industry, people that are aspiring to be entertainers or work somewhere in the arts, because this thing has become so much bigger than I ever thought it would be, and more important. And thank you so much for sharing that, because that's huge information and such great insight for successfully navigating this career. Thank you.
Thank you, Dane. I'm glad you find it interesting.
Yeah. And let's move on to a time that I like to call your Spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be an entertainer for a living, or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing as an entertainer. Tell us about that.
The first part of your question, which is their realization of, I'm going to be this or I'm going to be that. Actually, I don't think I've ever had this moment. I was dancing and I was performing and I was being on stage since the age of 5. And then it all was flowing and interchanging from ballroom competitive dancing into the sort of modern ballet performative places, into the theater, musical theater, and then swing dancing, and then jazz improvisation, and then music, and then writing, and then singing. It all kind of been like this powerful river with loads of curves. So I don't feel like there was a moment of my conscious decision, this is what I want to do. I felt it was just a flow of energy. My parents saw something in me, and that's how it happened. Yeah. But when I think about you said the word spotlights. When I think about spotlights, there's so many things that I could recall, but maybe there's 2 really highly energetically charged. Like one moment was, for instance, the Paris Orchestra, the performance with Paris Orchestra, opera orchestra in Royan at the festival Violon sur les Sables, which is violin and the sand or something like this in French. It's a classical music festival, a huge festival, which is free for people to come because it's sponsored with absolutely ginormous, like Baume & Mercier, the watch and so on. And so I was absolutely unexpectedly, for myself as a jazz dancer, invited to this festival to perform one piece, which is the very famous tune, Sing, 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 in the arrangement with Paris Opera Orchestra. And so obviously I said yes, and I couldn't expect what was the moment of performance. So I'm a soloist, I'm the only person on stage. The stage is ginormous and it stands right on the shore of the ocean. And I think that night, because it was the biggest night, it was the orchestra night with loads of different soloists. And of course, normally it's either opera singers or classical musicians. And then it was me with dancing, which was really unusual and fascinating for me. In the audience, there were about 50,000 people. So there was the biggest audience. It's incredible. It was like the ocean itself. You could see anything except for the first 3 rows in front of you. And then it was just an ocean of heads. It was incredible. The biggest audience I've ever performed to. And I do believe that it's not so important to how big of an audience for your performance. But what is true is that the energy of 50,000 people is something special, especially with the 80-piece orchestra sitting at the back of you, with the director of the orchestra and everything so big and grand. And I was just alone trying to cover with my little body and with my little eyes and with my little movements. But with my expanding aura and energy at that moment, I was trying to embrace all of that. And it was very interesting because for those 6 minutes, I was completely in control of the attention and of the message with my dance. And I felt it. I felt being that moment and power and this amount of energy. I think I was shaking, and maybe that was excitement, but equally it was just that when there's so many people around and so much concentration and so much of a bigness and excitement of the moment. So I remember to actually note that in the moment of performance, even though I was really being in the zone as I felt that moment, but I had a second of realization of what was going on and the energy and my sort of power in that moment. And I think I carry it through me. And even right now, I feel like my wrists are vibrating, you know?
Yes.
And it's not that, I don't know if it's an adrenaline. Maybe that's adrenaline. Maybe that's what it's called. But it was something very special. And I think the other moment that came into my mind, I'm a very theater person, and I've been drawn to theater, and I've been in theater. And theater for me is really fantastic space where many different art forms merge, and you get this beautiful gem of all of these different means of expressing some stories. Like you can sing and dance and do the pantomime and body movement and scenography, everything, and you can create this other world and live in it and transform and transmit something. And so it was my dream always, after I quit my musical theater where I was an actress, later on it was a dream to create a piece where I actually would not tell a story through talking, but through movement, through music, through sound, mainly through movement. And so my husband, David F., and myself, I think it was in 2016 or something, we finally decided to make a piece because it was commissioned as well by the Violon sur les Sables. And the piece is called Radio Hermitage. We've performed it not so much, but we've performed it very internationally in Ireland, in Basque Country, here in Spain, and in France. And so it was this 1 hour, 15-minute piece where it was a one-woman show. So I was the only performer telling the story, which was a very personal story, but equally was a story of jazz parallel to it. So two storylines at the same time. And it was a theater piece about jazz and through jazz, through the means of jazz dance, jazz music, jazz singing, jazz quotations. Very personal story, as I said, because Radio Hermitage is a real radio station in St. Petersburg, where for the first time I heard jazz music. And since then, my life changed, basically. So this radio station, in a way, changed my life. And this is the moment, the spotlight of understanding that this is it. This is what I want to be. Is the moment when you really give it all. You sweat your soul out. You feel like you took off the skin. With so much you gave and so much you were intensely living this little theatrical life. And then when after a piece or after the whole performance, when you're standing there, you almost don't feel your weight and you're so tired. Your eyes are so tired. Your whole body is exhausted, but you are so fulfilled at the same time, almost like elevated by giving and elevated by this other parallel life that you just lived. And you told something, you just transmitted something out there into the world. You gave out some energy. So this would be the two moments where I was feeling this buzz, energetic excitement, where you realize, my God, it's so amazing that I could feel that through what I do.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing those. And you're right, that experience of performing with an entire symphony orchestra behind you is crazy. I've had the fortune and very grateful to have performed with a couple of symphony orchestras, and it is amazing to have all that support behind you. It's insane.
It gives you a little bit of fear, isn't it, as well?
Yes.
The other side of excitement, which is, oh my God, I have to carry all of this, responsibility.
You're sandwiched between them and the audience, and it's crazy, right? It's all so much energy coming at you.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. And let's piggyback on that real quick, and let's talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day. If the auditions and callbacks were part of it, let's hear about that. But what was going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
It's very interesting because the word book, or I booked it, or I went through some auditions, I really rarely use in my dancing career, singing career at all. Because I rarely go to auditions. Really, I never go to auditions, let's be honest here. Usually people just contact me and they invite me somewhere. So yeah, they book me, but it's a little bit different sensation. But I thought of one moment, I guess, where I was invited lately, and it was something very special. It was last year, and it was a year ago. It was December, and the event is called I Love This Dance. And it's a brilliant, if you're interested, you can check them out on Instagram. They have a fantastic Instagram with many different dancers from all over the world. So they're all about dance, just dance in general. I wanted to say urban dance or something like this, but no, actually they are absolutely about any type of dance. And the story was very simple. So it's a French company who runs this thing, I Love This Dance. And an event is actually a battle, but not really battle, because no one wins at the end. It's like a battle/exchange where they invite the dancers that they want from all over the world, usually absolutely magnificent, fantastic dancers, superb in their own fields, but really they fly them from all over the globe. And then they're all sitting on stage in this beautiful, I think Palais Garnier, Parisian, one of the Parisian theater stages, and it's full of dancers in the audience, and you have this absolute superstar sitting there and then they battle. So I'll tell the details about the battling later on. But how did I get there? I was going to a house dance classes here in Barcelona, and it was a fantastic dancer teaching them. Nico, Ului is his artistic name. And he just mentioned after I jammed at a couple of his classes, Ksenia, we have this event 16th of December, let's talk. I want to invite you. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. I'm just a person who very often says yes to many things.
Yeah.
And then he said again a few months, this event, I have to invite you. I said, yeah, for sure, Nico, yeah, whatever you want. And then finally, they actually sent me an invitation and so on. And I said, fantastic, great. And I didn't really check anything. At that time, I actually didn't know what I Love This Dance is. And I was thinking, I'll go somewhere and it'll provide something. That's all I knew. And literally, the days before I Love This Dance in Paris, I was in Cognac in France performing for some other thing. I come to Paris, it's 15th of December, and I'm actually opening up the page of this event to look what's actually going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Quite impressed. I guess I was just very busy in that period because I didn't really look into it. And so I'm starting to scroll down to see who are actually the dancers on the lineup and what this is all about. And oh my gosh, my hair just one after another started falling out of my head because I got immediately, seriously, lost my color. I was like, oh my goodness, Ksenia, what have you done? You should have prepared for this. Because literally on the lineup, as I said, dancers from all over the globe, and they are just monstrosities of their style in the best possible way. And I'm standing there shivering like a little girl thinking, oh, Jesus, what am I going to do tomorrow? Anyways, tomorrow we're coming, and this event, actually, the whole battling system lasts for quite a while. And all of you have to sit on stage, and on the screen behind, there is this sort of like a raffle, like in a casino, where they go, and this person is gonna battle with that person. And then you just go out in your corner. So what's the whole juice of this competition is that I, Ksenia, bring my own music, and all of the other dancers bring their own music. And then there was a girl who I was battling with from France, a house dancer. So I happened to be in the left corner. So I needed to first dance to her music. And I had no clue, obviously, what her music is.
Yeah.
And then she would dance to my music, and then each one of us will dance to our own tunes. It was this very beautiful, exciting, experimental battle / showcase,
Yeah.
of how dancers can just be reactive, improvise, and share in the moment, not only with their own thing, but as well with somebody else's groove and vibe. And you know what? Walking you through this moment, I was terrified, I have to say. I was so afraid for the whole time, and my belly was just, it let me go. And I thought, that's it. I'm just going to lose my mind here at some point. And I was sitting on the chair looking at all of the other phenomenal dancers, and it's been 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I will not survive until my turn. And you know what? And that was this moment at probably 1.5 hours, where I got so wound up, so nervous, that all of a sudden this energy just fell over, rolled over the tip of me being able to deal with it. And it switched to this playful, peaceful energy where I thought, what if I imagine that this moment when I will be, on stage, that this is my movie. All of that is my movie. How would I behave in my own movie?
Yeah.
These people came to my movie. This other opponent of mine is a lovely girl. She came from my movie. Everything here is from my movie. How would I behave? Would I be so terrified? If I know that it's all done this way, I just created instantly this imagery that started to take over my mind. And together with this fear that was already so big, so I don't know, it just became this buzzing thing. When they showed my name and I came out, I think it was just some forces moving my body, because I don't remember making any decisions whatsoever, and I was not responsible for my steps. But it was a pure flow, because my mind was flipped from the chair of reigning, and it was just body and moment and music. And it worked so fantastic. Like, it was this video afterwards, and I suppose it was for the dancers there a surprising style, jazz and swing. It's just not something from today so much. And it just worked. This imagery just worked and helped me do something to the best of my potential at that moment, and helped me share the best energy and take it back from people. And that was my booked it moment.
Yeah, I'd say so. That is so cool. What a great concept of a festival or a battle. That is so cool. And it's not really for, I can't imagine, to see who wins or not, but to see the collaboration and what happens. And that is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this one is not about winning, and I think that that really changes the vibe a little bit
Of
because
course.
when it comes to winning, it's always comes to judgment, and we're all majority people, I suppose. Maybe some people don't care about that so much, are a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of being judged, no, in this or that way.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, what a cool experience. Great story. And let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And it's a weird time, right? We're amidst this global pandemic. How do you
Mhm.
see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
There's a Russian saying, which is if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. So that's one thing I'm definitely not doing right now. Usually, I'm a person who plans my year in advance. And usually in November, I know what I'm doing next November. That's how I've been living my last 9 years, I think, of my life,
Yeah.
being a freelance artist. And I love to know the structure because then I can just fill in the gaps, create some projects. Because I suppose many freelancers, we are creating a lot of times work for ourselves, you know. But for now, it's almost a slap in the face to yourself to plan anything because literally every day situation changes entirely and completely. So I'm taking it as a challenge to learn how to just be in this moment and maybe have an idea of something, but then be very flexible as a young plant of what can come and what can happen. Obviously, a lot of things are online. Me and my husband, we are running an online school called Secrets of Solo. It's been 5 years we're running it. We celebrated this year 5 years. And it came very handy, I have to say, to have an online school in this time when
I'd say.
all of the other all of the other things are cancelled. But equally, we're creating a lot of fun things for ourselves, like live sessions for dancers or little live singing concerts or interviews and things like that, and I'm taking loads of classes online. Actually, that's very interesting because you're at home, you cannot go anywhere, so you can just learn many things from your home if you're disciplined enough. But currently, artistically, our project is just this Monday. We finished filming a video for my husband's new album. We're doing a lot of video productions for each other, and we're like this absolute super strong ball of a duet. We're helping each other. We're doing things together, continuously bouncing off creative ideas. His album Arbiter of electronic music combined with classical music, and the video clip was called Swing. In Spanish, it's a dream. So it was a dance, beautiful sort of a storytelling video. And I'm working on pre-production of video from my album, Colors, one more
Very
video for a
cool.
song that is called Fear. Very current, I think, for all of us. Literally. You know what's funny? I wrote this song, the lyrics I wrote 3 years ago. It's crazy to talk about it. I don't want to even think about it. 3 years ago. But we're only going to be releasing it with the video in 2021 because things take time. But even now I'm reading the lyrics and I go, oh my gosh, it's as if I wrote it yesterday. It's the same story, and fear is just such a present and common thing for all of us, and we all experience so many similar fears all the time, and how fear actually makes loads of things very hard, difficult, bad, and negative these in life in general. Working on pre-production to this cheerful video. And yes, as well, just training continuously with other dancers here in Barcelona. Right now we can't, but whenever any studio opens, I'm meeting because one of the things I love to do is to continuously push myself in the style. I'm not the person who loves to find something that works and then just ride it forever. I'm a person who wants the water moving continuously, things changing. I'm getting bored of some certain, even my dancing style or some things like this very quickly. And I want to see something fresh and new. And for this now, with my dancing specifically, I collaborate with contemporary and urban dancers to contaminate, or let's say cross-inspire my jazz dance style.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, you got to stay creative, right? And so great
Absolutely.
that it's always about the training, always about continuing and growth.
Yep. Yeah.
For sure. And it is time to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round. I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after
Okay.
another. Are you ready?
Yeah,
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
nothing.
Brilliant. Second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Follow your passion and strike the iron while it's hot.
Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre-COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
Virus, no virus, whichever the situation, is keeping up the flow, continuing improving and learning daily, because I think stagnation and loss of fire inside is the path of slow dying. So keep up the flow.
Well said. And the fourth question, what is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, maybe a podcast or piece of technology you found is helping your career right now.
Lately, for the last 2 years, I've been reading the book Artist's Way. Not really reading, working with it by Julia Cameron. Definitely The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Then a little bit from the other side, marketing and things like this, because all of us in the end have to sell some things, even in a good way. It's Seth Godin with his Akimbo podcast and all sorts of different interviews. Seth Godin is really a guru, I think, of marketing today. And then maybe from the other point, like an artistic way, it's the film Mr. Gaga about Ohad Naharin from Batsheva Dance Company, an amazing leader, director, choreographer of that company, and his dance story, basically how he just started from nothing, from nowhere when he was 21 with dance and became one of the biggest names in the world.
Very cool. I will definitely have to check that out. Brilliant. And the fifth question. If you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently or would you keep it the same?
It's a very funny question every time. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything because I really have no regrets. And I think everything that happened was exciting, interesting. You could learn from it, redirect, recycle. So I wouldn't change really anything. Psychologically, now what I'm learning is this mental strength of yours, the strong strength of your core, I mean, spiritual core, to not get you shifted and beaten by other people's opinions and energies. This is something I think is important to know. But yeah, I really would live my life exactly the same. I'm super grateful for my life and happy for everything, how it happened in my artistic or personal life.
Beautiful. And the last question, what is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I would say stay connected, find the connectedness in every day, and being connected really open up so many doors to you. It open up the understanding of who is you, what is your passion. And following your passion for me is the biggest advice in my life, which I follow every day. Connect to the now, trust yourself, open yourself to the now. And at times I think it's important to go to the mountains or to some high rooftop to see that the world is really big, that there is so much to it, and not only what we have here under the roofs of the buildings.
Yeah, fantastic. Your imagery throughout this entire interview has been fantastic. I love everything the way you phrase everything is fantastic.
Thanks, Dane.
Yeah. And to wrap up this interview, Ksenia, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
I would like to invite all the listeners, if they're interested in the artistic side of my things, to visit my website, kseniaparkhatskaya.com. I know it's impossible to just even spell probably right now on paper, but if you type in Google Ksenia dancer or Ksenia solo jazz dancer or something like this, you'll definitely find my website, where I release things about the artistic side, video clips, music, and so on. Definitely check me out on Instagram or follow me. We'll stay connected. Instagram and Facebook, it's Ksenia Parkhatskaya as well. On Spotify, it's Ksenia Parkhatskaya as well. And the band where I'm a lead singer, which is called K Quintet, so one letter K Quintet. We are the band that are working with swing and jazz music. And we just released our new album last year, which is like 50% original music written by my husband, Dave Duffy, and 50% old, good, fantastic jazz standards. And the last thing, but not least for me, because I do believe dancing is really the way for just enjoying your body, staying connected, connected to your smile and shaking the dust of the days is dancing. And so if you're interested to dance something that is to jazz music, you can visit my online school, secretsofsolo.com, and take some free classes, but equally sign up for my dance school and courses.
Beautiful. And for everyone listening out there, I have put the links to everything that Ksenia just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with her. And also be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, educators, anyone in the arts and entertainment industry, as well as anyone aspiring to create a career in the entertainment industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. Case in point, everything Ksenia just talked about in today's episode. So many wonderful insights that you can apply to your career right now. And if you enjoyed this episode, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's guest. Ksenia, thank you so much for being here today. I am so glad we got connected, and it was such a pleasure to have you on and to talk with you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dane, and thanks everyone who's listening. It was a pleasure to share.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't miss an episode. I have a new guest 7 days a week. Every guest drops more value and insight than any other resource out there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a rating and review. Also, be sure to head over to youbookeditpodcast.com and join our free email community where we dig deep into a continually growing resource of truly actionable things you can be doing right now to help you advance your entertainment career. All the best to you. We'll see you tomorrow.